Hello, I'm Jim Jackson. During my second year at college, my life was forever changed at an early morning Bible study in my fraternity. I attended the study somewhat out of curiosity, and there God spoke to my heart through a few Bible verses, and I was what Jesus described as born again. I became alive to God. I got rid of the marijuana I'd used regularly, and I began to read the Bible and study about Jesus. My love for Jesus has grown over the past almost 50 years, and I have a passion for talking about him with others. I especially enjoy conversing with Muslims about Jesus because Jesus is a prophet in Islam. In fact, I've heard some Muslims say that they love Jesus more than the Christians that they see around them. However, few Muslims that I have met know much about what Jesus taught or did as recorded in the Bible. I decided to put together some basic lessons to help my Muslim friends get to know their prophet better. I hope you'll come with me on this journey to learn what the prophet Jesus taught. What did the prophet Jesus teach? Number 3 in a series, Whom Should We Love? The prophet Jesus did much of his teaching in stories that his listeners could easily grasp and relate to. The following Bible passage is known as the parable of the Good Samaritan, and it is one of his most famous stories. In fact, most states in the U.S. have laws known as Good Samaritan laws, which protect people from being sued if they try to help another person who is seriously injured. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" he replied. "How do you read it?" He answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." "You've answered correctly," Jesus replied. "Do this and you will live." But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look after him,' he said, 'and when I return I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have.' Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." You can find this account in the Injil, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10 of the Bible. Here is a little more background information for a better understanding of the text. A parable is a simple story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson. The expert in the law was a scribe, a scholar of the law of Moses. Notice that he did not come to the prophet Jesus with a sincere heart, but rather to test Jesus. When the prophet Jesus gave him an answer, this lawyer wanted to justify himself. The journey from Jerusalem to Jericho was a 17-mile journey which often ran through bands of robbers. The priest might have been traveling to the place of worship in Jerusalem, where he would serve the Lord in a variety of religious ceremonies. He may have had a scheduled duty to fulfill and could not stop. Besides, Touching a corpse would make him ceremonially unclean, so he may have not wanted to take any chances with helping a dying man. Notice that he passed by to the other side of the roadway. The Levite was an assistant to the priests in the place of worship. He likewise could have become ceremonially unclean by assisting a dying man. Obviously, time and cost considerations would also have factored into his decision to cross over to the other side of the road and also pass by the severely beaten man. Samaritans were considered to be heretics and enemies of the Jews, and the Jews tried to avoid any contact with them. Jesus made the Samaritan the hero of this story. The Samaritan took pity on the beaten man, bandaged him, put him on his own donkey, took him to an inn where he continued to care for him, left the innkeeper with payment for the man's care, and even promised to repay the innkeeper if expenses exceeded the payment. The Samaritan looked beyond the racial and religious divide between his people and the Jews. 2 denarii equaled 2 days of pay for the common working man. It might represent $300 to $400 today. Earlier in the Injil, the prophet Jesus taught about loving others with the following amazing teaching. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And if you lend to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners, expecting to be repaid in full. But love your enemies, do good to them, and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because He is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. If you have a public comment about this passage from the Injil, please use the comment box. If you have a question, email me and I will do my best to respond. Catch me at iwouldloveto talk@gmail.com. Now I hope you will join me for number 4 of the series to learn what the prophet Jesus taught about true righteousness.